Hi, I'm Desi Serna, author of Fretboard Theory. In this free guitar lesson, I'm going to show you how I play the guitar solo to Let the Praises Ring by Lincoln Brewster. Lincoln Brewster is one of the most popular Christian music artists today, but you don't have to be a fan of his or the genre in order to get something out of this lesson, because it's a great example of using major scales and alternate picking, and it'll give you some new ideas that you can use in your own guitar solos. I do have tab for what I play, and you can find it by following the link in the video description. And I do recommend that you follow along with the tab as I break this down. I am playing a Paul Reed Smith CE24. I'm plugged into a Line 6 Pod Pro. I'm using the modern high gain amp setting, and I'm plugged into a Mackie mixer and playing through a Mackie PA and just using the camera microphone. So let's zoom in and let me explain what I'm doing here and break it down. Okay, so I'm using the E major scale and I'm playing all along just the first string, except for the very last lick. But everything else is played all along the first string. And in the tab, the first thing I did was tab out how to play up and down the E major scale from the open string to the 12th fret and back. It looks and sounds like this. I recommend that you memorize that and practice playing up and down the scale and just getting used to what frets you're using. Because when you play the solo here, you're going to be hopping around, so you really need to be able to visualize the scale. Okay, let me play through the whole guitar solo now, and I'm going to slow it down. You can follow along with the tab. Here we go. And it repeats. And the ending. Okay, let me break that down a little bit more for you. We're going to start up here at the 12th fret. And what you're doing is you're playing a combination of some fretted notes and some open strings. So the first couple of phrases are... And it might be a good idea to maybe leave the open string out and just focus on the fretted notes first, and then you can fill in the open string later. So you might just work at memorizing this. And what you can do is just follow the tab, learn a couple of notes, memorize it, rehearse it, and then add a little bit more, and then gradually keep adding to it, all the while going back to the beginning, rehearsing everything, and you can slowly piece this whole solo together. So you might just learn a couple of phrases and rehearse them. Then you can work on putting the open string in between. Then you can work at increasing your speed. And then you can slowly add more and more, and then go back to the beginning and rehearse everything you've learned. When you're playing this correctly, your right hand will just continuously alternate. There won't be any break in your picking. And the open string will be at an upstroke. So you should be able to continuously alternate without slowing down or speeding up, without any break in your picking. You start the fretted notes with the downstroke, the open string is on an upstroke, and then in time you can work on gradually increasing your speed. Like that. careful you don't try to go too fast and get sloppy. Take your time with it. Okay, so at the first part of the solo, you're basically, you're more or less descending, going down the scale, and then you get turned around and then you come back up the scale. But before you do that, there is one little group of notes which are just two notes. As you're going down the scale, you're playing 3 fretted notes and then an open string. But when you get to the end, you've got some more open strings just because you're down here, you know. And there's just 2 notes, the 4th fret and the open string. And that group is just 2 notes. I wanted to point that out because it's a little bit different than the pattern you're used to. And it might throw you off mentally a little bit. So when you get towards the end, you've got 2 notes, and then you reverse, and you reverse in a similar manner that you would down the scale, 3 fretted notes and an open string. Climbing up the scale is a little bit easier because you don't have all the hopping and skipping. You just kind of go up in groups of 2. So let me go down again. There's the 2 notes, and that gets you turned around, and then you start with the other sequence of 3 and then an open string. Let me do it again without stopping. And by the way, I hope I'm playing this the same every time, but you know, sometimes when you get going, because it is fast, I'm likely to have some variations in there. So if you notice that I'm not playing it exactly the same way or some things are different than tab, I'm sorry about that, but I usually play it like the way it's tabbed. Okay, after you climb back up, everything repeats. I'm sorry, after you climb back up, there is a first ending which goes, and then everything repeats, and then there's a second ending that comes up here. So let's talk about that first ending. The first ending is just 1 fretted note and 1 open string, like this. Okay, you're just using 1 fretted note and 1 open string, and then you're hopping around. So here it is slowly. Fretted note on the downstroke, open string on the upstroke. All right, then everything repeats, and then you have the last lick. Okay, so let me play through everything one more time, including the last lick, and then I'll break down that last lick. So from the beginning. Up. First ending. Repeat. Second ending. So the second ending comes all the way up here to the 17th fret, and this uses strings 1, 2, and 3. I've got it tabbed out, follow the tab, and let me break it down for you in 3 pieces. Here's the first piece. Those are pull-offs, represented by a P in the tab. That's the first piece. Stop and start this video if you need to, okay? Here's the second piece. That starts at the 16th fret on string 1. Here's pieces 1 and 2 together. And then the last phrase is, and that's a half-step bend there. When you're bending right, it's going to sound like the root at the 17th fret on string 2. All together. Quickly. And you've got to come all the way up here to the 17th fret from this position down here. You do have that open string is the last note you pick down here, which gives you a split second to come up to the 17th fret and start your pull-offs. It's going to take some practice, but you can do it. Here's the whole thing once more, up to tempo and up close. Here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in addition to playing this, as I do and as I just taught you, you could also take some of these concepts and just kind of experiment with some different ways of using them. So, for example, you could move around in the scale in your own fashion, maybe even move up past the 12th fret, you know. You could try maybe playing a different number of picked notes, fretted notes. You know, maybe you do just 1 and then 2 or something. You know. You could try using maybe some techniques like hammer-ons or pull-offs. You could try pull-offs. Maybe you could do some pull-offs, like double pull-offs, like. Maybe some hammer-ons. Maybe a combination of both. You could even try this concept on another string. You could switch keys and play the B major scale and do the same thing along the B string. So you could just experiment and see what you come up with. Well, I hope you have enjoyed this guitar lesson. If you would like to learn specifically how Lincoln Brewster himself plays this solo, or you want to learn any other parts in this song, I have included a link in the video description to Lincoln Brewster's website, where he sells some DVDs that break down his songs. And remember that my song lessons are not for sale. They are not available in any of the books or DVDs that I sell at my own website. They're posted online for free. But if you'd like to learn more about guitar theory, including guitar scales, chords, progressions, modes, what scales to play over chords, what chords fit together, progressions, then you can go to my website at guitar-music-theory.com. That's guitar music theory with dashes in between the words. There you can sign up for a free preview of my guitar theory book and DVDs. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to rate this video and leave comments. And as always, play until your fingers bleed.